welcome to my channel. Well, rather than talk about a specific knife, this video here is what set it off was there's been an open tag going around about ugly knives, and Tobias just did one where he covered a lot of different knives, but one of the spectrums he went through, which really struck a bell with me, was Spyderco, because for the longest time I looked at these knives. Now remember, I'm old. I was here when Spyderco first came out and everything. You know, the very first ones. I could have had the prototype in my hand if I wanted to. I looked at it and I didn't like it. And why did I not like it? Appearance. It was simply based on appearance. I didn't like the hole. I didn't like the hump. I thought it looked funky, it just didn't appeal to me. And it's strange because the knife that I was using for the longest time and really liked was the Gerber Easy Out, which has a slotted hole in it. I don't know how this logic went in my head where I'd like the kind of a copy of a Spyderco hole better because it was functional, and I had never tried a round hole. I was using a slot, and I was saying, yeah, I like this. Hey, I can get it open. My thumb's nowhere near the blade or anything. I don't have to do anything fancy, and it'll open every time. So I like that, the Gerber Easy Out. Let me get that thing. Yeah, this was my carry knife for the longest time. After carrying a buck 110 for decades, I wanted something a little bit lighter. I wanted a belt clip, and I wanted the ability to open it with one hand. And I got this, and admittedly, right here, this would have been better if it had a hump on it and a hole in it. Because, yeah, your thumb catches it, but it catches it by the edge. All right, whoa, almost got me. With the Spyderco, your thumb fits right in there, and it rolls naturally. There's no sharp. Sometimes I've heard people say they had sharp edges, but all you have to do is knock that off the file on the inside, chamfer it, and you'll be all right if that's an issue. I like a little bit of grab on it, so it engages properly. But the problem was, again, the sooner you put away some of your biases, the sooner you'll be able to discover new knives and maybe experience things that you never, thought you would like and stuff. Simply because of this, man, it took a long time. It was only like about 5 years ago or so when I got this Delica, and what I'd been doing, and I'd been watching videos and stuff, and Nick Shabazz was always using a Delica as a size comparison for a knife, and then every once in a while he'd inject how he liked it and everything, and I went, yeah, but it's just so ugly, and I had never tried one, so finally, this was the first Spyderco I got right here. It's in ZDP 189, and at the time, I could have gotten one for a little bit cheaper and stuff. I think they were going for like about 80 or 90 bucks. And this one was like 100 or 110, but I figured, you know what? Here's another bias that comes in that you can run into. Blade steels. Now, in this case, I'm really happy with ZDP 189. My only regret is that I didn't get the Dragonfly. They're still available, but they made the Dragonfly in this steel also. But once I got it, as soon as I did this, I understood. And as soon as I held it in my hand, I understood what the hump was for. I understood what the hole was for. I understood what the hump was for. I realized I'd been an idiot most of my life, Not an idiot, but I just had a bias. Well, of course, I wasn't collecting knives. I would find something functional, and look, it's partially serrated too. I don't really like serrated knives too now. So if I go through, if I kept my old biases with me, This one would be like a serrated, fully serrated Spyderco or something. Mainly because what I was using knives for at work. In my last job, I worked in a warehouse cutting fiberglass, and we would receive fiberboard, which is, like backed reinforced fiberglass in these big pallets and stuff, and it'd be banded with this stuff. And if you've never tried to cut any of this stuff before, you can use a pair of wire cutters. It'd be a lot better, but if you ever try to use a knife, a serrated one will give you an edge and then cut deeper than the knives that I was using. Sometimes, I put a pretty good edge on this one, so it'll cut through. But this stuff is tough. You have to saw. And anytime you have to saw, a serration is going to do a better job. Yeah, it's kind of a rough way of cutting through stuff. This stuff is tough. And the knife that we were issued to cut fiberglass was here. This is what you're getting, right? This is what you get. I put this on here to let me know what the top is, because they're both curved down, the guards are kind of curved, and you can do this sometimes, trying to cut something. Whoa, I wonder why it's so dull. Because you're using the wrong edge. Yeah, it's blunt, supposedly so you can't stab each other or something. I don't know. But we'd still throw these at cardboard boxes and stuff like that. But it's not the best steel in the world. Why? Because you're going to have to sharpen it a lot when you're cutting fiberglass. That stuff will mess up on a blade. It's rough. It's glass. It's basically glass, like ceramic. You're cutting like through ceramic every day. Anyway, that's just one of the things I was thinking about, is that the sooner you can dump your bias on something. Now, some of it we have a legitimate reason. We tried them, Maybe you tried it and you didn't like it or something. I'm just saying, just based upon appearance, I didn't like these knives. And they're super good at cutting, man. This flat grind, and the way they're set up. I don't know if this one's still. Oh, look at that. It just glides right through. It's got a little bit of drag. I haven't stropped it or worked with it in a while. This has been a work knife. I don't collect Spydercos though. I haven't got into the. This is the. I've got a Sage 5 lying around here, but there's my extent of Spydercos. All right, this range right here covers everything I need. The compression lock Sage 5, I can flick. I can do all the fun little things you want to do with a medium-sized small knife or whatever. Let me go get it. So yeah, once you get beyond this, then you get beyond like a simple lockback, and you can actually do the flick stuff, and the fall shutty, talk about fall shutty. You engage that compression lock, bang, comes down. I still use this one. I like it. I carry it, quite a bit and everything. But again, I've got everything covered. Yeah, I've seen a lot of different Spydercos that I'd like to have, and everything. I could easily have gotten into the collecting them, but this brand here tends to still fall into the functional rather than, like collecting. If I was looking at this, it's still functional as any of these. Maybe the larger ones are going to be able to do more stuff and everything. But to me, one of the things was, I think this was at the time when I was stopping chasing flippers, because Civivi was coming out with so many, and I'd already gotten almost the entire Gonzo line, and I got it to where I was like, I lost interest in them. To me, like this is like kind of like reaching the height of engineering and stuff. If you want to take a knife and you just want to bring it up to the most modern stuff, I know there are more modern. I'm just saying this is, like engineering. This is old school. Um, the materials. If it's something of a traditional material, even micarta can be a traditional material, but you're getting into, it's starting to branch into the modern traditional type of stuff. And if you're into that, that's fine. I'm I'm not. I don't have a bias against it. I'm just saying one of the advantages of collecting something like a Rough Rider is, for the price, you're linking back to a tradition that these don't have. This design right here goes back much further than this one. This, uh, and some people don't care about that. Like in this, you're looking at, a lot of times you're looking at, used to be you were looking at function. I don't know how other people do things and how they collect their knives, or what their reasoning is behind it or anything like that. Just like in this live chat, we were talking about um, how do you keep track of your knives and stuff, and how do you inventory them? And I honestly say I just keep like knife receipts that I throw in a box, or a, a cardboard box, or a paper bag or something that I never look at, that I never sit down and I never calculate out. And yeah, if insurance was, you know, gonna have. Only recently have I had renter's insurance. Before that, I believe me, I've lost everything. Pretty much everything I've had before. So, and it wasn't through a fire, so uh, I'm not as worried about that. Believe me, if there's a fire, I'm probably gonna be in it. I'm not gonna lose more than just my knives. I'm gonna lose my life. So, I'm not gonna really worry about insurance and what it would collect. And a robbery, man, it'd take them a while to carry out all my knives in here, man. Even I would have a hard time. I figured out if I had a warning and I saw that a fire was coming and they said, you got to evacuate right away, as long as the flames are not licking at my feet, I'd open up the windows and I'd start throwing knives out, like boxes of knives, not opening them and throwing them at people, but because I'd figure, like at least on the ground I might be able to get to them and take them to a vehicle. But yeah, that if you could only have one knife. I tell you what the most useful knife is. It's the one you've got on you. That's why, when I'm working and everything, when I'm walking around and I'm doing stuff every day, I've got this little rig with me. It's got a little tiny light with it now, because of the iMini. This works perfectly with the Swiss Army knife, just clipped on there. And I've got what is this, Explorer? And yeah, when you need something and you've got it on you, that's the best tool in the world, because you don't have to go somewhere, or you don't have to do without or improvise. You've got it on you. So I don't know how this branched off. It wasn't from like ugly. I started going off into ugly knives, and then I just realized this about Spyderco is that, yeah, they've got, I looked at like the Shaman, and that other one with the little ball lock on there was the Manix 2, the Native. They got a lot of great knives in their lineups, but every one of these was at least, nowadays, are at least $80, except for like this. This isn't even it's like 26 or something when I got it. I don't know how much it is, but it's basically the Spyderco Dragonfly in 8CR13 MOV steel. So with these, it was part of it is price. It doesn't cost me as much. I can get 2 or 3 of these, knives. Yeah, they're not made in USA, and they're not blah 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 and all this other stuff. But if you're getting into traditional knives and you were wanting different patterns and stuff, you can get these for a lot less money than you can get one of those. Any flipper, maybe it's starting to where they're branching up to where the upper prices is getting closer to the lower budget price modern ones, like CJRB has theirs, and Syncut and Civivi, and all these other ones. They have their upper and lower tiers, and some of their lower tiers are approaching what some of these higher priced traditional knives are starting to get to be towards. But it's all a personal thing. It's just like, how do you inventory your knives? It'd probably be a good idea to, like way Gizmo was talking about it. He's got an Excel spreadsheet, and when he orders a knife, he enters in the detail before he even receives the knife. And so maintaining his database is no problem. For me, it would be like, I don't know, torture, trying to find all the knives and record them. It just drives me nuts. It'd be like I'm an accountant, like I'm doing all this stuff. Why? So some lawyer can have an easier job doing his, insurance claim? No. I've got 1,000 videos about knives. You want to know what I own? Here, look, this is what I had. Mr. Insurance Guy, if you want to replace something. And like I said, I've had to go with even lower coverage because I can't afford. I couldn't even afford regular insurance, but I had to have renter's insurance when I rented this apartment, because they say, just in case you cause some problem, then they can be covered. Because they gave an example. Some guy was out on a balcony smoking a cigarette. He dropped it. Still lit. It caught part of the building on fire. And so, well, that's what it seems like. Apartment complex should have their own insurance. That's what apartment complex should cover. But no, if it came out to be quite a bit, because he had renter's insurance, he didn't have to pay all the damages and all that stuff from what he cost. Anyway, that's so much about insurance and everything. Everybody has a different thing, just like a lifetime warranty. If you're in your 20s and you get a knife and it says guaranteed for life, hey, that's a pretty good deal. Maybe. There's no guarantee how long your life's going to be, but that's a pretty good deal. But when you're in my age, the odds of you living the length of the 20-year-old are much less, So guaranteed for life doesn't mean as much. How much is the quality? How good is the quality of knife? It means more to me than the guarantee. Because if a knife is guaranteed for 25 years and you're only going to live 5 years, I'm not saying I'm going to croak off, but who knows, man? I mean, nowadays, who knows? So yeah, there you go. There's my trip down memory lane. And this was back when Gerber was good. They started going downhill not too long after this, and hopefully they're going to come back as a company. I don't know. I haven't followed them since then. I should do my next video probably on Gerbers that I've got. I've got Gerbers. I got Gerbers. But they were all the rave. They were very good company back in the 70s and 80s, maybe early 90s. After that, I lost track of them, and I think they lost track too. But anyway, there you go. That's just my thoughts. Really, it's all how you want to do things. The more accurate your records are, will probably be much better, not only for insurance purposes, but for knowing what you've got and where it's at. I keep most of my stuff together in different cases of boxes, cardboard boxes sometimes, or cases that like Toby and family sent me, zippered cases. I put them in there, and that's how I basically keep stuff together pretty much. But knives will get away. There's like black holes that just appear and take things away from you. And I know, because I'm in a small apartment and I don't have a lot of people coming over, and I don't go out a whole bunch of times and stuff. So if something disappears in here, I know it isn't because I misplaced it by walking off somewhere. No, something had to happen. Anyway, before it gets too weird in here, get Peppy to get his Bowie knife. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.